Genocide Dossier, brought to you by Al Jazeera. If you know, I'm having a lot of trouble with this cell phone. This camera is not working so well. Normally, usually it stops right now. I don't know why. Something related to some AI shit. AI garbage software. I'm trying to read Al Jazeera now. Yeah, where's Al Jazeera? I still prefer the previous one, the previous art, the previous template. It was more beautiful. Very original, you know, very from the 90s. Was beautiful, but now it's just the logo. And yes, we have live updates from Gaza, the genocide dossier. As usual, we have a streaming video, but I never listen. I prefer, because I'm reading. This is a training session, English training session. Live updates. The video says ICJ has begun 5 days of hearings into Israel's humanitarian obligations in occupied Palestinian territories. UN warns of, quote, new unseen level, end quote, of suffering in Gaza amid Israeli onslaught. Amnesty accuses Israel of live-streamed genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, where dozens were killed in the past day. By Edna Mohamed, Brian Osgood, April 29. First, United Nations Rights Chief Volker Turk has called on the world to halt Gaza's descent into a, quote, new unseen level, end quote, of, quote unquote, humanitarian catastrophe amid Israel's total blockade on aid and relentless attacks on the territory. Second, the International Court of Justice, ICJ, has begun its second day of hearings into Israel's humanitarian obligations to Palestinians. More than 50 days into Israel's total blockage on aid entering the Gaza Strip. Third, South Africa's representative Zane Dangor has told the ICJ that, quote, under the world's watchful eye, Palestinians are being subjected to atrocity, crimes, persecution, apartheid, and genocide. Yes, genocide, end quote, in Gaza. Fifth, or something, or fourth, Amnesty International, a global rights group, has accused Israel of committing a, quote unquote, live-streamed genocide. Yeah, live-streamed genocide against Palestinians in Gaza by forcibly displacing most of the population and deliberately creating a humanitarian catastrophe. And fourth, Israel's war on Gaza has killed at least 52,365 Palestinians and wounded 117,905 others, according to the Enclave's Health Ministry. The Gaza government media office updated the death toll to more than 61,700, saying thousands of people missing under the rubble are presumed dead. An estimated 1,139 people were killed in Israel during the Hamas-led attacks on October 7, 2023, and more than 200 were taken captive. Who knows the reasons, you know, because this is the worst military campaign ever. I prefer journalism, of course. I prefer marketing, merchandising, yeah. prefer politics. Anyway, Tuesday, April 29, 4 minutes ago, Israeli forces stormed town of Hajjah. Israeli forces have stormed the town of Hajjah, east of Qalqilia, in the occupied West Bank. Total sources told Al Jazeera. We will bring you more on this as we get it. Tuesday, 29 April, 19 minutes ago. It says, watch, Palestinians resort to eating turtles as food runs out in Gaza. What? Palestinians resort to eating turtles as food runs out in Gaza. I didn't got it. Palestinian fishermen in Gaza have resorted to eating turtle meat due to severe food shortages caused by Israel's total blockade of humanitarian aid. Who knows? I never tried. People always say that it tastes like chicken. Everything tastes like chicken. And there's a photograph. They are eating chicken or turtle. Palestinian fishermen in Gaza have resort to eating turtle meat due to severe food shortages due to Israel's total blockading of aid. 39 minutes ago. Terrible trucks, terrible streets, terrible lines. One person shot and killed by Israeli forces near Ramallah. A woman has been killed after being shot by Israeli forces in the city of Tira, in the Ramallah governorate of the occupied West Bank. Local sources told Wafa that Susan Abdel Quadr Bishara has sustained several injuries from Israeli forces and was subsequently transferred to the hospital, where she succumbed to her wounds. Since the beginning of April, at least 23 people, including 4 women, have been killed by Israeli gunfire in the occupied West Bank. And there's another news. 1 hour ago, watch, Israel releases Gaza paramedic who survived deadly attack on health workers. A Palestinian paramedic who survived a deadly Israeli attack on a group of first responders in southern Gaza last month has been released from Israeli detention, the Palestine Red Crescent Society, PRCS, says. Asad al-Nasasra, an ambulance driver, was among at least 10 Palestinian detainees who were released into the Gaza Strip on Tuesday, the PRCS said. The agency shared footage on social media that showed a visibly emotional al-Nasasra dressed in a bright red PRCS jacket, embracing his colleagues after 37 days in Israeli detention. His exact whereabouts had been unknown after the Israeli military opened fire on Palestinian first responders in the Rafah area of southern Gaza on March 23, killing 15 health workers in an attack that drew widespread outrage and calls for an independent investigation. Al Jazeera's Ali Hashem reports. There's a photograph. Asad al-Nasasra freed from detention after surviving Israeli massacre of 15 Palestinian paramedics in Rafah. Terrible Middle East. And the very last one, this is the very last one. 1 hour ago, Israeli forces stormed village south of Nablus. Israeli forces have stormed the village of Al-Luban Asharkiya, south of Nablus in the occupied West Bank. Local sources told the Wafa news agency that the troops forces shop owners to close, searching several vehicles and citizens in streets and allies during the raid, which lasted for about 2 hours. Terrible, terrible genocide in Gaza. Daily, 2025, 2024, all year long.